Welcome, guys, to Chibi podcast for one of our reviews here for the long-awaited movie Dragon Ball Super Broly. And I'm so excited to give this review. And we have my two homeboys, two people from Chibi podcast. Introduce yourselves to the people.
I'll go. I am Mr. Mister. I'm not going to go with all the extra credentials here, but yeah.
This is your tech guy. How's it going, everyone?
They can't respond, Miles. Gosh. Anyway.
Talking to you guys.
I'm doing good. I just finished
Jeez.
watching, and then
You guys feel super?
What?
I feel amazing.
No,
Do you
I
guys
feel
feel
super. I feel okay.
Pun intended.
I feel okay.
I feel amazing. But let's. So we're starting this review, kind of on the acts. So first act, the backstory. The second act, finding. Or second act, third act. We'll go into spoilers into it. I won't do it in this beginning part, but so please, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it and then come back and watch this review because we're gonna go into a lot of spoilers and a lot of stuff that was very interesting, stuff that was changed, stuff that was added, new lore, everything. So again, we're not gonna pull any punches. We're gonna go right into it. So let's get started with this. So we get this backstory of the Saiyans, and actually, I feel, and maybe you correct me on this, but a lot of people were saying that this is like the beginning of how the Saiyans were put under control of Frieza, which is true, but it was like not true because they've always been in control by someone, which is explained that it was King Cold.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised they didn't show Beerus at all involved in any of this too in the pre, but I guess they just didn't need it for the story.
Well, I mean, like we've already what we already know is that this movie was originally going to be a 3-hour movie, so this half of it was cut. So There's a lot of things we don't know that we're just going to have to assume. So let's not get into that portion of it. But yeah, it just kind of shows you that King Cold has been in charge of the Saiyans for quite a while, and during the time of like Vegeta and Broly's birth, because in this iteration, Broly is the same age as Vegeta, I would assume. And during this time, King Cole and his whole platoon come to Planet Vegeta, and King Cole basically tells the Saiyans that his son Frieza is going to be ruling Planet Vegeta and being the ruler of all of whatever King Cole does.
Yeah, it's funny because they say like instead of the Cold Force, it's now called the Frieza Force. So it's like the Cold Force. That sounds so stupid.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, I love the beginning, but I did almost feel like I could tell stuff was cut, and like almost like it could have been two movies if they really wanted to go there. I really liked the learning about the Saiyans and the lore like that. I really enjoyed getting more backstory on that.
Yeah, same here. A lot of things I did enjoy. I enjoyed was just like just the drama, what was going on with the Saiyans, like how they were really enslaved to King Cold, and how you could just tell the shift in power and discrimination was so severe with Frieza, and it was just pretty intense seeing that all, you know.
Yeah, my favorite part of the prequel, to be honest, was just seeing Goku's mom, Jean. Like that was just so cool to finally see her.
Seeing Gine, it was pretty dope.
Gine, sorry, yeah.
Gine,
but she was awesome, dude. I loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get to spend too much time with her, but what we got was awesome, and the change in Bardock, it was a big controversy because a lot of people like the way that Bardock was written in the special, and this Bardock they felt he was more passive or more not as aggressive as the Bardock that was in the special, but. Honestly,
I'm the only person to rebel or have a smarts to think that Frieza was going to destroy the planet in a way. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, you think that, and again, like I said, you can tell things are cut in the movie. But I'll go back to that in just a minute. But one thing that was cool is like he talks about, he's very smart. He's questioning, he's questioning like, why are we being called here, the planet, for some sort of special announcement? And they mention, the Super Saiyan legend. Just kind of off topic, and that's what triggers him. Like, that must be it. That's why he's calling us. He wants to destroy us.
You heard about the legend, yeah.
And he says something to Gine as they're about to send Kakarot away, which is like, all we do is like destroy and and kill. Like I want to save something for once, and that's his whole desire for the reason of taking Goku
this was his big change because he wanted to protect something, and that was Kakarot. Because Goku as a baby was like originally he was a small frail baby, and he was obviously weaker than Vegeta and all the other guys. He was a low class Saiyan, and just seeing that Bardock had this fear of extinction, him wanting to save his child who was already weak and frail was pretty cool to see.
You know what that scene reminded me of when they sended him off? I mean, I know it's not all the way related, but it reminded me of that emotional impact I got was when you saw Naruto meet like Minato and Kushina. It kind of reminded me of that. Like, I just got really emotional seeing like Goku just leave his parents. Like, that was so cool to see.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
It is kind of sad. It was really sad because I watched one part is where he says, where Gine is like running and he says, Kakarot, like, don't forget about us. And I was sad because like he doesn't remember anything, because in Dragon Ball it stated that he hit his head and forgot everything. And
it was
so
already his insane armor though, because originally it wasn't in the original.
Well, he kind of lost it, but it's just whatever. It's just another thing. But
I know.
Yeah, the first 20 minutes of the movie sets it up of the origin of the Saiyans' fall, of how they've been extinct and everything, and I think it was done well. Obviously there was cuts. There was just a lot of cuts you could tell that happened there, and I feel like that this movie is going to, if they release a director's cut or it's going to be extended into Super Series,
kind of the Battle of Gods.
It's needed, I think, for this one.
There's too much that they cut. Like you said, the Bardock scene
in a way.
The Bardock scene was very emotional because you see him struggling and shooting that beam, and seeing him die just was hard. But you can tell that he was fighting other people, and when Frieza throws his energy ball, there were other people that you could see like their figures, and so something was happening, but was cut out unfortunately due to time restraints.
You could tell.
But like I said, that's something that hopefully they expand upon another day. But yeah, so let's move on to the second act here.
The second part.
Which the transition to that part was awesome, because you see Goku's pod heading to Earth, and you see the time of when he arrives. You have these little like flashes of like the fights they had, and then you go right into Goku and Vegeta sparring, which was amazing.
Oh god, and then the music too. Like, the music was so good in this.
Yeah, and like I said, this second part was merely just a setup for the fights, because you see. You have Goku and Vegeta and Whis and Beerus, and Whis kind of finding out the reasons why Vegeta and Goku want to keep getting stronger, and Goku's more like, I want to get stronger and beat the people who are in these other universes. And it's funny because Vegeta has taken this mantle of being the actual like hero, because he's saying like Frieza's gonna come back one day, and we have to be prepared for him. So it's funny how he's taken this role like for a superior motive, and making Goku look like he says like, oh, you're a dumbass and stuff things. It was so funny.
Yeah, there's some great stuff. He calls him a dumbass, or no, he tells him he doesn't call him. He says, "Stop calling me an idiot." And he's like, I'll call you an idiot as many times as I want.
Yeah, he keeps calling him an idiot.
The banter was so great between, like, even the comedy in this is just so great. It's just another example to see how much Vegeta's grown,
Mm-hmm.
and I just love it.
And we get to Broly. Which we get to understand his character a lot. This is where there's a lot of depth to his character and stuff that's I think is complicated for him, that we never got with the Broly in the previous movies, because he was just this giant brute like, I killed Kakarot. He cried and I was sad. But in this one, he's kind of torn because he's lived his entire life under his father, who has been training him basically for revenge on King Vegeta for what he did to Broly. But he's also like stopped Broly from having like an actual good experience while living on planet Vampa.
Yeah.
Like you said, we find out about Paragus shooting off his animal friend's ear, and that now the animal friend doesn't want to be around Broly anymore. But
I love that.
But even when like Chilai and them are telling bad stuff about Paragus, he's still like, he's my father, you shouldn't talk bad about him. And so it's just so interesting, like he he's torn because I think he has some resentment to his father, but also he loves his father because he's been there since day one.
The
He
only
even
person he's ever been has been around.
yeah, and so I guess I wanted to ask a question. How do you feel about Broly's portrayal as a character now versus what we had before?
A whole lot better.
No comparison.
Miles,
I mean, there was
better.
no development, and now there is. You know what I mean? There was no character before, now there is.
And the thing I liked about this was this movie wasn't about Goku or Vegeta. This was about Broly, and that's what I took into, and that's what I liked a lot, was because this wasn't a Goku Vegeta movie. This was Broly, and just showing you him growing as a person, him growing as a fighter, and just having all this untapped potential, which was insane to see. I loved it.
One of my favorite parts about Broly personally as a character was he's not evil.
Right.
Yeah.
And Goku states that later on in the movie.
Dynamic. Yeah, like, I mean, sure, he has the Berserk and he can't really control the Super Saiyan power, obviously, but you can see the struggle between that, and then when he finally calms down, it's just like, we've seen this already before in Super, but it's just to see Broly have that dynamic and give him character, and then he loses control, and then when he comes out of it, he's not there to like want to kill anyone. He's not like his father. He's actually a really good dude.
Yeah.
So let's kind of segue this into the final act, which is the fights between Goku, Vegeta, Frieza or I guess the punching bag Frieza, and spoiler for Gogeta. Yeah. Here's something that, not necessarily talking about, again, we don't want to go into a full. I think first of all, you need to watch this movie in high def in the theaters, because if you watch it somewhere illegally, like it's really like, it's a bad thing to do that, but B, you're not gonna give the same excitement. Yeah, you won't.
You want more Dragon Ball? Support this, please.
But side note on that. But the main thing I wanted to talk about is the way they did this fight, the way that they made Broly progress into getting stronger, wasn't as far-fetched as it originally appeared. Because you kind of go into, like, he's fighting Vegeta and he's hitting a wall basically, and when he's fighting Vegeta, when Vegeta goes Super Saiyan, but then basically what Paragus says is that he somehow has tapped into the power of the Great Ape, but kept his form so that he'd be faster and more agile against Vegeta, and then that happened, and then you see him get slowly, stronger and stronger. And again, sometimes some of it felt like off, but again, I mean, it's Dragon Ball, and then the way he becomes Super Saiyan again makes sense because it's in line with how other people have become Super Saiyan. And so it didn't, like I said, sometimes it was stretching like how strong he is, which I mean, we were expecting that, but it didn't feel as out of place like they did with the original Broly movies.
Tingly feeling in SSL days.
Whatever, midichlorians, that's what he's talking about.
I did like this a lot. It just showed you that he had so much untapped potential, and he never could reach it because, one, he was getting stunted by Paragus with that shock collar, and two, he never had anyone he could spar with to that degree. And so I like that he was able to push himself to this new terrain, but eventually just that Saiyan rage, or I guess the monkey portion of himself, the Great Ape, took control, because that's a lot of what it was.
Well, that was really cool with the Great Ape too, because like when his aura was like, he is channeling without transforming that power into his base state, and then you see the kind of Easter egg to that where he does the blast from his mouth when he's tapping into that power. That was so cool.
That was
those little fan Easter eggs, It's like, it was so cool to see that.
I liked a lot about this. I thought it was really great, and I like how they gave basically Broly his own transformation, unique to it. You know what I mean? Like 2 unique transformations.
I'd say it was the animation, like, of all shonen movies. I've seen like high quality movies, even like the One Piece movies. I think this is the best animated shonen fight in like movie anime history, period.
Yeah.
Like, I know it goes on forever, but like the quality never drops.
Yeah. They do a lot of cool things with the camera, because they have at one point where you're watching like from a perspective of someone. Well, yeah, from his point of view, but you see also one from a third person point of view, of like when he's following Vegeta, and Vegeta is like is dodging the the key blast from Broly. Like they changed all these different perspectives, and that's what kept me entertained and kept me engaged. Was like, oh, okay, I'm watching like as if I was looking up in the sky, but now I'm watching it like as if I were Broly, and now I'm watching it as if I was on Vegeta's back, and like it was so awesome. Like just that experience alone was something that I've never seen, in any Dragon Ball episode or movie, and they weren't pulling punches. They were going and spending that money to make it great.
That Takahashi, you could see when he had some of his drawings and art styles in there, and it just blew me away. Like just how much drawings they had to do for this movie.
I love the Shintani design way more than the previous one. I think the Shintani design should be Dragon Ball forward. That's my core belief.
Yeah,
and I want to ask about Gogeta, guys.
Yeah, so let's talk about Gogeta, and then I want to talk about the music for a little bit. So Gogeta, and this is what I'm trying to confirm because Mr. Mister brought this up that when the fusion is done, if it's done incorrectly, that they have to wait an hour, and then they can try it again. And I checked this on the Dragon Ball wiki, and again, I'm trying to confirm, but it does. Everywhere I've looked, it says yes, that there's supposed to be after you defuse, has to be an hour wait, which I think they just kind of took out though, or they just didn't mention it, which would make
it would be 3 hours of waiting technically then. Right?
Yeah, I doubt that Frieza was fighting him for 3 hours.
It would be a 3 hour wait.
I know. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into that kind of
stuff.
But,
I don't want to. It was just something that I just like. I wonder what's going on there. But Gogeta, sorry, yeah. But Gogeta,
he is OP. Bring up the cool Easter egg they did for from the Janemba when they did the fat and the skinny. Like we were both calling. I hope that they make him mess up, and they did both of them, just like the movie for the fans. That was
the previous movie was just the fat Gogeta, not the skinny.
No, they did skinny and fat. He was in both.
I don't recall that, but okay.
Yeah, but anyway, I just saw.
I thought it was just a fat one too, but I'd have to rewatch. It's been a while. I'm pretty sure it's just fat.
Thinking of maybe just
thinking of Gotenks.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, that was really cool. They did that. But dude, Gogeta was so badass.
He's so strong, and this is what I liked is that they made it that Broly has a limit. Like he hit his wall with Gogeta. He could not get any stronger, and Vegeta was gonna annihilate him.
He couldn't do anything. Yeah, he was completely leveled. And what was crazy about Gogeta was Gogeta didn't seem like he was struggling at all.
No. Maybe in his other transfer, like in Super Saiyan for a little bit, but even then, like he wasn't like it wasn't overwhelmingly.
Gogeta Blue didn't have any issues. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, and speaking of that, like the music in it, I don't know if you remember this, Miles, and I talked to Mr.
Like
I loved it. I loved the chants that were going on in the back. Like Gogeta.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't necessarily like it either. If that makes sense.
I get you. I liked it because it gave me this like a WWE WWF kind of a thing, a vibe, and I totally was a sucker for it. I loved it.
Did you hear when they said instead of Saiyan power they said Scion power?
Yes,
I don't know if you heard that. I was like, that's actually pretty cool. This
is all the Japanese score, right?
Yeah, there's no English, nothing.
But Scion is like it should be Japanese. The English should be the English translation instead of saying Saiyajin. It should be Scion, which was, I mean, if you look at Gitams, he did a whole video about why it got changed or how it got changed. But it was just cool that they actually put the actual.
Or something in the English dub, right? And they just kept it and just kind of continued.
Yeah, it just wasn't better. Anyway.
But that was cool to hear that,
Yeah, that was great. The emotional pieces that were in when Planet Vegeta gets destroyed, and obviously the theme song Blizzard, which they played the English version at the end of the credits. Like the score was just done so amazing. Like they put so much time and effort into this movie, and it really shows with how it came out.
Hey, one thing I forgot to mention, my favorite fight scene out of that entire show was when Gogeta and Broly were fighting, and they're literally ripping between like dimension, space, and time while they're hitting fists. Like that just blew me away. That was really, really cool.
It did. That was the weirdest thing though, because it's like he's even like, "What the heck happened?" And then
Yeah, they
and-
broke the dimension and they were surprised themselves, and I thought that was great.
Yeah, I do have one. Well, I wonder if this is a clarification or not, because I remember the people who reviewed the movie when it originally came out, and their issue was the fact that the dragon, well, there was only one wish made.
And it's just
And-
inconsistencies.
but
That's
here's-
pretty much it.
But here's
There's
the thing,
nothing
though.
we can. There's no answer for it though. It's just an inconsistency to
Well,
the writing. That's it.
I think this again. I can't verify. I'm not trying to defend it, but the way that Chilai says that, I think she said two wishes, because she first says save Broly, and then says and take him and send him back to his planet. So it sounded like it was two wishes
That's what
there.
I was thinking too. That's like two
Shenron,
wishes.
But
Shenron
Shenron's-
said
yeah.
he has one wish. He gives you one wish. That's what he even said. So she just said save Broly, but
But he should have two wishes after Dende.
I know. But like I said, there's inconsistencies to this. That's
Well,
what
I'm just saying
that's-
it could still be two wishes.
They
though.
know, and
Yeah,
he
but
said
if
he said
Shenron
you make a
himself says
wish.
One wish. If Shenron himself says you get one wish, then you get one wish. That's
Shenron
what I'm
didn't
saying.
say that.
He's the- he's
Shenron
the
just said
wish grant. Yeah, he said one wish.
I don't know.
I watched. I've already seen it twice. I went to confirm. I was like really paying attention at that time. He only gave them one wish.
that's I'd have to watch
That's
it
what I'm
again,
saying,
which
the
I will. But
inconsistencies.
I have to hear for that one. But but overall, let's wrap this up. What do you give this movie?
9 out of 10.
I guess I'd probably give it a 9. I'm still debating if it's my favorite of all.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It beats out all. It beats out all of them. It even beats out World's Strongest, and that was really hard to beat for me personally.
Yeah,
See
I
the
don't know.
the top. I give it a 9 as well. But the top 3 movies that I think are going to be debated, some people will be debating, will be World's Strongest, Battle of Gods,
Oh,
and
gods.
Broly, because those are 3 huge
I
movies.
think those are the 3 best.
Yeah, they're hands down. But yeah, I mean, for those of you listening, let us know what you think about the movie. Tell us what you liked, what you disliked, or let's have a discussion there about it. Because again, I think we could talk about this for hours and dissect everything here, but we just want to give you our initial thoughts. So, yep,
Yeah.
just leave us a comment and follow us, Mr. Where can they follow Chibi no Podcast?
They can follow us on Facebook at Chibi No Podcast. They can follow us on YouTube at Chibi Podcast, right? No, that was Instagram. That was correct. Chibi No Podcast on Instagram, and Twitter at Chibi No Podcast, capital C, capital N, capital P, which doesn't get used, but you can go.
Anyway, okay, so thank you for listening. This is David the Smash Fan,
Smiles your tech guy.
Mister.
and this is Chibi no Podcast. Have a good night.
See ya.